Joining me now to discuss is trial attorney Christa Ramey and criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Marcia Mignot. Thank you again, ladies, for joining me today. And Christa, let me start with you because I want to get your reaction to some of the things that ADA Jesse Evans had to say. First and foremost, I know you remember this case when it took place back in 2016. Give me some thoughts about what that was like, what the clamor was like, what the general public opinion was about this case.
Well, I specifically represent a lot of children in my practice, and so for me, whenever you hear about these cases and how they develop, my interest is piqued. I will tell you that the deaths involving children in cars happen pretty frequently. In fact, I think it's almost 40 children a year die from suffocating in a hot car. And so you hear cases ranging from, negligence and forgetfulness and all the way to intentional conduct, like in this case. And I remember being struck by this case in particular and heartbroken by it, but also confused by the evidence that was being brought in and how it was being brought in. I was really troubled by the character evidence that was brought in this trial from the very beginning. You are dealing with the death of a child, but children die more frequently in drowning deaths in pools than they do in hot cars. And parents are rarely charged with intentional conduct like they are here. So I was more alert to what was happening here, and it made such national news. I live out here in California. It was on CNN almost nightly. So it was a trial that I did watch with some interest and was quite frankly troubled by the outcome of it, if I'm being completely honest.
All right, and Marcia, I don't know if you have any particular memory of this trial, but just from what we know in terms of what was going on, what evidence was brought in, as Christa mentioned, some of this sort of bad character evidence was allowed in. They joined these two cases, one involving this lewd and lascivious behavior with a teen. Did you have any problems with that? Do you think there was a case here without it?
I did. I had a problem with it. I felt like the two cases should not have been joined together based on the fact that they were not relevant. The facts were not similar enough, in my professional opinion, to have tried them together. And I find that the case involving the minor child and the promiscuity or inappropriate conduct on behalf of the defendant was more prejudicial than probative. And what you run as a court is the risk that jurors will convict someone based on immoral conduct and not based on the evidence associated with the crime that you are actually charging them with. I think it would have been better in this case. And even if a motion for new trial is not granted by this trial court, I could see the Court of Appeals overturning this case and sending it back down for a new trial based on those errors.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think this particular judge will be doing that, but I certainly, I agree with you. Once it gets to that next level of appeals, I can certainly see that happening. And I don't know if that might not even be a very just result here. All right, Marcia, you're going to stand by, but Christa Ramey, I want to thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. And when we come back, we have a lot more to talk about regarding this hearing and this attempt to get a new trial by convicted baby killer Justin Ross Harris. Stay with us here on Court TV.